Yeah, my name is Maja Gunn, and I'm working as a designer I'm working with clothes.
Lift the mic a little bit, so
Like that? Is that good? Okay. And my voice is very bad, so I hope it will work. I'm working with clothes in different contexts, art, fashion, and costumes for film and theater, and I'm currently doing a PhD at School of Textiles in Sweden. And coming from the field of fashion design, I depart from a place that is and has been filled with images of exposed women and the play and display of unequal power and sexuality. And even though the discussion about fashion and its communicative images are present, I found a huge lack of knowledge of feminist theory and norm critics within fashion design educations. And when I got upon getting this request to talk about why we need this international gender design network, I found that there were so many arguments for it that I didn't know where to begin. Why we need it? Because we're stronger together, because it's a global issue, because we don't want to live or act in a society or world in which people are being excluded or degraded because of sex or because of anything. Because design work is not only a reflection of society and norms, but it also creates and shapes society and norms. And this image that I show is a project that I worked on, and it's called "If You Were a Girl, I Would Love You Even More." It's about a man's alienation of wearing as what he considers feminine clothing, and address him in this or I do a feminization of him. So it's a play with a man's gender identity through clothes, and his alienation in the end turns into comfort or even pleasure. If we extend the term to not only include, or if we extend the term design to not only include artifacts, but also the creation of ideas, design becomes a notion of ideology and social change. The design making, the transformations, the communicative acts are all part of a creation that form and establish our world, its structures and the norms connected to it. And ideologies can be associated with aesthetics, since aesthetics and design has been used to visualize and strengthen ideological ideas. However, if we, when working with design, connect gender with feminism and ideology, we should maybe simultaneously familiarize with the idea of ideologies as design entity in itself. Most ideologies were created by people in a limited setting as this. Potentially, at least, network like this can be a starter for the establishment of a design ideology or creative groups or isms, as in surrealism, Dadaism, or Futurism, in which art and societal perspectives become ingrained. By saying that, I suggest that ideology, one could at least assume, could be considered as a product of design rather than vice versa. Ideology is something that can be conceived during the actual act of designing. Through the artifacts we make, the repetitions of styles and bodies, norms and social structures are established. There is by that important to achieve an awareness of what design creates. Design can become a way to understand the world and simultaneously change it. And this I'm just going to shortly say something about the image. It's a project called Collection L that I made a few years ago, where I worked with stories from a group of bisexual and homosexual women and created garments out from their stories. And it was this design project was presented as text and photographs together. Mm-hmm. And as a feminist working in the field of design, the evaluation of the designer role and the design objects are present. The designer's political awareness and communicative acts are displayed through the design object and the context they create and are placed within. When discussing the political potential of the design object, I refer to the object to something that includes the composition of forms, as well as the composition of ideas, context, concepts, and references. Design can, of course, also be other things than objects. Design is also settings, text and stories, bodies and movements. referring back to politics and the potential social change and effect design has on all of us, and the affection we have in our making creates a change. For the designer, their thinking becomes a form of creating, and creating becomes a form of thinking. An example of this is a project I recently worked on, the club scene, that was initiated by the Swedish art and architecture group Mycket, which is Therese Christiansson, Katarina Bonnevier, and Mariana Alves, who is also here today. The club scene was a series of restaging acts of historical important queer feminist rooms, where the guests were encouraged to transform themselves through the redressing acts. When evaluating the project post-event, the participants expressed the amazement of being able to explore the political boundaries through their bodies instead of reading about it. The thinking and making exchange in this project became not only an approach for the designer, but also an approach for the participants, the wearer. And in November last year, I had a design workshop in Cairo, Egypt, called Make and Remake Fashion and Gender. The participants were encouraged to deconstruct existing materials, as well as deconstruct the expected appearance of gender. Here, the design process was followed by discussions about form and shapes, as well as bodily experiences, sexual harassments, and political structures and norms. And this is Nora. She's in her design expressed the frustration of being veiled. Her desire of what she wanted to wear was an opposition to the social prediction that she expressed were held against her. I strongly hope and believe that this international gender design network will work as a sturdy platform for us to express and share our experiments in the design field. By doing so, sharing, communicating, and connecting, we potentially can achieve a change in how issues about gender will be achieved in the design field, in aspects of design processes, working conditions, parental leave and daycare abilities, design education, aesthetics, and artifacts. Through this change of how we interpret, value, and create design, we also potentially will achieve a change in norms and social and political structures. We can make rethinking, and we can rethink the making. We, as designers and artists, are the ones that can achieve such change, and we should definitely do our best to do so. Thank you.